Welcome to Rider Nation Station, presented by American Manufacturing Solutions, your total logistics partner, investing in Rider Nation Station and St. Mary's, Ohio, and to our other fine sponsors.
Welcome to Rules of the Game with Mark Cisco. I'm your host, as every week, Zach Ferrall. Mark, here we are, somehow, the end of the regular season.
Week 6.
Week 6. Even though it's a shorter season, it's still unbelievable how fast the 6 weeks have flown by.
Sure has.
I wanted to talk about, by the time people see this, it's going to be right before the Salina game or after as they're watching throughout the week. And so upcoming is the playoffs.
Yes.
What are you hearing from an official standpoint about the playoffs? Anything different, anything interesting?
Well, it is a little bit different this year. Right now we're being told that weeks 1 through 4 will be officiated by your normal crew. So in other words, the guys I've been working with all year, or all these 6 weeks, will form our playoff crew. In years past, they would always bring guys together from off of different crews and mixed crews and things of that nature.
And before that had been on round 1, they would start mixing? Or?
Oh, yes, round 1 it would start, and then you would stay with those guys through whether week 1, 2, 3, or 5, whatever you had. But this year, what I'm being told right now is weeks 1 through 4, it will be your normal regular season crew, and then after that, for the regional finals, state semis, and the championship games, they will put other folks in, move things around. Now, you're not guaranteed a game, but chances are that most crews that are working now will work at least in week 1 because there's a lot of teams are playing and everybody gets in.
Do you know how they will decide which crews get to play?
The state's divided into districts, right? So we're in the Northwest District, and there's a coordinator that's been recruited to help put the crews together, and once the game sites are decided, he will recommend to the state official assigner, if you will, one guy that will have the final say. But normally that one person will take the recommendations of the district coordinator and go with at least weeks 1 and 2. And then after that, of course, the games start getting fewer and fewer. But there's also the possibility that the crews could work, because you still have weeks 8, 9, and 10 that schools can opt to play into. And I know there's a lot of discussion right now, different teams, whether or not they will opt in to play or whether they won't. A lot of things go on in that when you listen to the coaches talk.
Sure, absolutely. Before we got started today, you were talking about you had Salina as a game last week, mm-hmm. and you had an interesting play that came up on the kickoff. Did you want to maybe share?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, and you don't see it very often. You see it once in a while at the college and pro level, but the high school level, it's a little difficult. What happened was the home team kicked off, and they pooched it, meaning they popped it up, and the ball went about 20 yards, and one of the kicking team's players ran under the football and caught it in the air. Okay. Can't do that in high school. That's a foul for kick-catching interference. And, we don't see it that often. Kicking plays don't happen that often, number one. But you don't see that type of play made by a high school kid.
Sure.
Great play by him, but it garnered a flag. And when we went to tell the coach what we had, he kind of knew that it was not going to be good. So he said to me, we probably should have let that ball hit the ground before we touched it, right? Yep, correct.
So as a reminder for everybody at home, an onside kick has to hit the ground and go 10 yards before it can be recovered.
Before it can be recovered by the kicking team, correct.
Doesn't matter if it's popped up or a straight line. It has to hit the ground or one of the receiving players, correct?
Correct, and that can happen in any order. The problem here was it didn't hit the ground at all. So, there's penalties involved, and basically Bath elected to re-kick the football.
Is that different in college and NFL?
There is some different rules differences there. And, 5 years ago I could have told you those differences, but not anymore. So.
I think we've seen that before in college maybe where they've done a pop-up and the kicking team has recovered it, and I believe that counted as an onside kick.
You could very well be right, but I'm not going to comment there.
Yeah, we'll have to invite a college or an NFL official here sometime to talk about that. Well, thank you very much. I thought it was an interesting story.
It is interesting, yep.
And we'll have to see if Salina tries to pooch a little bit this week against St. Mary's.
You never know.
Well, we're going to take a quick break, Mark. When we come back, we have some clips from the Rough Rider victory on Friday night against Shawnee. We're going to go through those and get your take on that. So we'll be back right after this.
Vogel's Bake Shop, making thousands of fresh donuts daily. Open 7 days a week with stores in St. Mary's, Salina, and Walpock. Also now found in Wagner's IGA in New Bremen, Minster, and Fort Laramie. Guarneri's Pizzeria and Pub has partnered with Rider Nation Station this season so that every Friday night, Guarneri's can be Rough Rider Football Central. Guarneri's will be streaming Rough Rider football live every Friday night at 7, paired with your favorite Rider aid. Make sure to call and make your reservations now to ensure yourself a good seat. Call Guarneri's at 419-394-2244 and make your reservation today. And go Riders!
Miller Funeral Home has been serving the Rough Rider community in its time of need since the 70s. Our business is a family affair, dedicated to serving families with integrity, dignity, and compassion. Miller Funeral Home, proud to be a supporter of the Rough Rider community.
Welcome back to Rules of the Game with Mark Cisco. I'm your host, Zach Ferrall. I want to thank all of our sponsors out there who are able to allow us to bring this show to everybody, along with our games on Friday night. Thank you to all the sponsors. If you're out in the community and you're visiting one of those sponsors, be sure to tell them thank you from Rider Nation Station for all of their help. Mark, we're going to go over some of the clips here from the game on Friday night against Shawnee. This first one was potential pass interference on St. Mary's, but it was not called.
Okay.
So Rough Rider fans, I'm sure, were glad that it wasn't called, but wanted to get your take. It's a little bit difficult to see here, but it's going to be on the bottom part of the screen, and it was a halfback pass.
Halfback
actually.
Pass,
there.
yep. Yeah, it is a little bit. He definitely there was contact, but it's possible the ball was beyond the receiver and the contact made no difference here. Purists will probably note that, well, it doesn't matter, the ball was still in the air. Well, rules technically and rules how it's officiated are two different things sometimes.
Sure.
And, in talking to coaches, sometimes they think pass interference is called too much.
Yeah.
And that could very well be. This play here, like you said, is a little difficult. Halfback throws it downfield, and then right at the end there is contact and tough.
I think we have to trust that the official was in place, hopefully enough to see that the contact was either well timed or just a little bit later. Another thing about that last play that I wanted to talk about was I noticed that the line judge punched backwards when there was a backwards throw to the
when the quarterback throws it backwards. Yes, we're taught to punch that back and then yell back just to let everybody know that we know it's a backward pass, because if he drops that, it's free ball. I mean, it's a free for all. It's a fumble basically.
And I guess if I noticed in one of the bulletins at one point when I was reading that if that ball would get dropped and that was very obvious that it was backwards.
Right.
But if it's not obvious and one official says it was backwards and the ball gets dropped and another official blows a whistle like an incomplete pass.
Right. Now you have a discussion.
Okay.
So if it was truly forward, fine, no. But if it was backward and we have a whistle and then we have an inadvertent whistle.
Okay.
So basically, you go to those rules now. In a situation such as that, had that been that tight,
what does an inadvertent whistle do?
Well, in a situation like that, we would have replayed the down.
Okay.
And different passing or loose ball or running play situations, the rules are a little bit different, but basically it gives the opportunity of the team in possession to say, we want the down replayed.
If the defense picks the ball up, though, there's no...
Well, here's the deal. Here's what happens sometimes, and I've had this happen, JV games or wherever. Maybe there's an interception, and the intercepting team catches it and starts back, and there'll be a whistle. Okay, so now the intercepting team has the football. So their choices are replay the down, which they're not going to do because that would give it back to the passing team to replay, or they'll take the ball right at the spot where the interceptor was when the whistle was blown.
Okay.
See, on a play like this, if the ball's loose behind the line of scrimmage, or if it had been a punt and the ball had been in the air, then there's no choice. It's just replay the down.
Okay.
So those types of things as officials you do not want to happen.
Well, it's interesting. I think we showed there you can look at a play that looks relatively straightforward and pick a lot apart about it from an officiating standpoint. So
here's a question for you and for the group. That the ball was thrown backwards. The halfback caught it. Can there be pass or roughing the passer called on the halfback?
I believe yes.
The answer is true because the rule says not quarterback, it says passer.
Okay.
And as soon as the halfback let go of the football, he was considered a passer at that point. So he's fully protected from roughing.
If it's a forward pass?
Correct, forward pass, something like that.
But it's still behind the line of scrimmage?
He was still good there.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, if he'd have taken off and ran beyond the line of scrimmage and then threw it, then there's no protection.
Right.
Because you have an illegal pass.
Illegal pass. Okay. Right. So any kind of pass behind the line of scrimmage, any legal pass,
the passer
can
is
be roughing
protected.
the passer. Passer is protected. Interesting.
There's no pocket in high school. There's no throwing it beyond the line of scrimmage and all that stuff.
I think we
may have touched on that earlier.
I think at some point too. I think unfortunately the running backs in that situation aren't given as much of a halo as some of the quarterbacks are sometimes.
It depends. I mean, if he's loose with it big time, and some coaches will think that, hey, he's free game because they've already thrown it. The quarterback's already thrown it backwards once. Well, no, that doesn't work that way.
Excellent. All right. Well, the next play here was a kick return from St. Mary's. There was no penalty called, but I know that we've talked over the past few years that they've changed the rule for walls on kick returns.
Okay.
So St. Mary's had their traditional St. Mary's double wall set up, but they weren't linking arms. So I just thought we could talk about what that rule change was. And did St. Mary's follow all the rules there?
Well, no, there's nothing wrong with that and what St. Mary's did there. I mean, you had the front wall. The front guys come back and set up a little blocking wall, if you will, not a wedge, and they didn't link arms. That would be illegal to do that.
So is it you have to link arms, or is it touching any part of an opponent?
They'll reach out and they'll touch one another on the shoulders just to get spacing, and you can see them do that. But they're not holding on to one another. They're just running forward. There's nothing wrong with that at all. Now, you go to the college game, then there's some rules about how many folks can be ahead of the ball carrier and things of that nature.
Okay.
But in high school, as long as we're not linking arms or holding on to one another as we're running up the field, there's no problem with that whatsoever.
All right, and we got another view here of just the back end zone view of it. It's just kind of neat to see how those double walls set up. For any St. Mary's fans out there, this has been the kick return that has scored a lot of touchdowns over the year, and it was very close on this one because
he's got to beat one guy.
Yeah, one guy, or he just gets a little bit closer to that front wall, and I think he's probably gone. So it was an excellent play, and I just thought we could give us an opportunity to talk about any of those rule changes. So next here we have a line judge just making a certain hand motion. I wasn't sure what this was, and I just wanted to hear your take on it.
He is telling his opposite that he has two guys on the end of the line that is off the line of scrimmage.
Okay.
So he's saying, look, we know we've got 11. These two are off, makes them both eligible. So it just clarifies things for the crew and for the referee and everybody else that, look, those two guys are eligible to go out for a pass. St. Mary's was perfectly legal here. They only had 4 in the backfield, including those 2 that was down here. So, when you're counting 4 in the backfield, everything's good, no problem with the formation, and away we go.
As we're watching this right here, I noticed that the right side of St. Mary's, it was sort of a jailbreak screen sort of thing. It doesn't matter if it's a screen pass. They still got to be careful about being illegal men downfield. Is that
well,
correct?
That's true, because if the ball was caught beyond the line of scrimmage and you had the lineman more than 2 yards downfield, you would have ineligible receivers downfield.
Okay. All right. And it's always I also feel like offenses are given a little bit more space on screen pass situations.
That would be true. We talk about once in a while in our pre-games, okay, if the receiver misses it, and he's standing a yard behind the line of scrimmage and the ball goes technically beyond the line, are we going to call that and those linemen have gone downfield? Technically, the ball has gone beyond the line of scrimmage.
Right.
Yeah, but no coaches want us to call something like that as ineligible downfield. Even the defensive coaches are going like, no, we're not buying that because we'll be subject to the same thing later.
Gotcha.
So,
all right. Well, we're going to go ahead and take another quick break here. Mark, when we come back, we're going to have the last few clips.
Super.
And talk about some more things that we saw during the game.
Good deal.
We'll be back right after this.
St. Mary's Foundry wants to take this opportunity to give a big shout out to all our local teams, wishing them a safe and extraordinary season. And speaking of great teams, St. Mary's Foundry would like to thank its very own team of hardworking employees for their loyalty and dedication. If you're looking for rewarding challenges and first-string wages and benefits, check us out at stmfoundry.com or on hometownopportunities.com. St. Mary's Foundry, where iron and ingenuity meet.
American Manufacturing Solutions is proud to invest in St. Mary's and proud to sponsor Rough Rider football. Think AMS, think logistics, done right. AMS is your complete supply chain solutions provider. Have electrical service needs? AMS can take care of that too. Call us at 419-300-1007 or visit us at AmericanMFGSolutions.com.
Whether your goals include college education funding, retirement planning, generating income, or reducing taxes, at Glass Daringer Investment Management, we've got you covered. Stop in and speak with Jeff Daringer or Kevin Glass at 100 West Spring Street today. Glass Daringer Investment Management. Securities offered through LPL Financial, member FINRA, SIPC.
For all your sporting good needs, visit Albert Sporting Goods at 121 West Spring Street, serving the St. Mary's community since 1980.
Auglaize Equipment Rental is your source for all your equipment needs. Whether you're a contractor or a homeowner with a project, we can help get the job done more efficiently. Check us out at 1900 Salina Road or auglaizeequipmentrental.com or just call 419-394-7883. Auglaize Equipment Rental.
Welcome back to Rules of the Game with Mark Cisco. Just a reminder, this show will be broadcast every Friday night at 6 o'clock before the Rough Rider football game. So, Mark, looking here at the last few clips that we have, this one was a call on St. Mary's for holding on the punt return. Okay. And you can see right at the end of the play there, one of the St. Mary's
the umpire's calling that on number 2 for St. Mary's. Yeah. So I got a little background on that. As they ran by, he's watching. He's telling the St. Mary's kid to let go of him. Okay. And he didn't. Okay. So,
my initial thought was, wow, that's so far away from the play, and the running back was almost already tackled by the time it was
right.
called.
And quite honestly, in talking to the umpire about this play, he may, as rethinking it, may have wanted to take that back, possibly. But his thing was, look, I was talking, and the kid didn't listen. So, here we go.
Gotcha. Okay. I thought that was interesting. I noticed that one, and it's technically holding, but it was so far away from the play that.
But when you see the jersey stretch and everybody else is seeing it, it's tough to let that go.
Sometimes you got to call that. Well, this was a defensive interception from St. Mary's and a block in the back called. Okay. I think it was Paul 43. So after the interception here, you can see him kind of run into the play and right there.
Oh, right there?
Yep.
That was probably a good call, and that was gotten by the back judge. It looks a little bit funky because did he get him on the side? Did he get him in the back? I can tell you, this crew is a very good crew. They talked about it a little bit and decided to go with it. Sure. The back judge thought he had a really good look at it. So, they went with it. It could be supported either way.
Yeah, I thought that when it happened and I saw it in real time, I thought it was a block in the back. Just how fast it was. Sure. Just another example when you can slow it down and watch a replay.
Again, when we can slow it down, it makes things look a little different. But, I'd say that was fine.
All right, Mark, this next play was potential false start on St. Mary's, but it wasn't called from the running back in the backfield.
Little head bob there on and maybe a little early.
Yeah,
possibly.
I thought it was maybe both of them.
Yeah,
it was a pivotal. This was a 4th and 4, so it could have been a huge a no call there.
The head bob didn't get the referee or the center judge's attention at that point. That might have been a false start. He might have been a tad early. Yeah. But if it's a bang bang snap go, you're going to let that go. Okay. Because there's a little bit of a doubt there, or what went first. Was the ball moving? Was it not? Let's see here once if we can see the center's arms moving. Yeah, he might have been a little quick.
Sure.
Yeah, but it was kind of bang bang.
Credit to Shawnee, they were able to stop the running back, and it didn't have any effect on the play. So this next I believe the final clip that I have is a deflected punt. Okay. So St. Mary's, as you can see, the Shawnee punter is in the back of the end zone. St. Mary's sends everybody, and we just wanted to talk about. I think they kind of rolled into the punter afterwards, but the back judge said it was deflected. So does that take away any possibility for roughing the punter?
Yeah, the center judge with the deflection there, with a good signal, that tends to let the defensive team off the hook. especially if it was the person that did the touching of the ball was close to the punter, which it looks like he was and probably got him. That pretty much takes that kid off the hook. Now, another player couldn't come in there and pop the punter a good one just because it was tipped. That doesn't work, but that play there, that was a correct call.
So if it's kind of part of the deflection and it rolls into them, then it's okay. If it's an extra
if there had been another kid come in and give him a shot and he wasn't involved in the deflection, that could very well be roughing the punter.
And then if there is that ball is not a live ball by any means after the deflection.
Oh, certainly it's a live ball.
It can be picked up by the receiving team, but it can't.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it's not the same as if a receiving team would muff the punt or.
Correct. Anything behind the line of scrimmage for what you're talking about there, that deflection is ignored. Okay. So it's like it never happened with the ball that goes downfield. So because St. Mary's touched it,
becomes a regular punt once it crosses the line of scrimmage. Okay.
Correct. Right. That's a good question.
Yeah, because that's always confusing from even from a commentating standpoint. Okay, was that ball live then? Is it dead on the deflection? So the receiving team it just becomes like a regular punt.
Regular punt. Yeah. It's like it's never been touched back there.
All right.
Yep.
Mark, I was mistaken. We have one more clip here, and it's a good one I think to go over because this was an illegal man downfield that was called, and then the flag was picked up.
Yep.
So we saw 3 Shawnee guys sort of run down the field, and the
umpires got the flag for ineligibles downfield.
Now was this? And I'm just guessing here. Was this called back because the pass was in the backfield?
You got that. Look where the receiver touches the ball. The line of scrimmage is right on the 40. So the passer gets loose and it's caught behind the 40. So that makes that basically, in layman's terms, a screen pass, if you will.
Okay.
Okay. So the ball did not cross the line of scrimmage in flight. So those linemen can go down and block. They can't hold people, but they can, and they certainly went past the umpire, and he knew that.
So if it would have been thrown down the field, it would have easily been.
Easily.
Man downfield.
That flag would have stayed. So they got together, and the umpire said, "Wait a minute, we need to chat a second." And the wing guys took him off of it and said, "Look, the ball was caught behind. Fine, pick it up."
So
and away
because
we go.
it was caught behind the line of scrimmage, you don't have the same call. So they were seeing a little bit of.
So the umpire in that situation, he knows the linemen have gone past him. He can see him go, and he knows the ball's in the air.
Yeah.
But changing our mechanics a couple years ago doesn't allow him to come to the line of scrimmage like we used to as umpires. We got to stay back. So he knows the ball's in the air, but he doesn't exactly know where it's caught. So that's why it's a crude deal here. And you can see the wing guy coming from down. He's making a beeline for the umpire right now, telling him, "Look, that was back." And that's what happened. Pick it up and you move on.
Okay.
Correct.
And is that the proper mechanics too? The back judge should or umpire should throw the flag.
He threw it because he didn't have really knowledge of where the ball was caught.
Right.
So the flag's down. It's better to throw the flag and pick it up than to say, "Wait a minute, then I'll throw it later."
Excellent. Okay.
So great job by the crew.
Excellent explanation of that, Mark. We appreciate it. I'm sure a lot of St. Mary's fans are wondering why was that picked up. So we're able to address that there for all the fans at home. Mark, want to thank you. Can't thank you enough for doing this every week for us.
Appreciate it.
Hopefully we'll be back for many more weeks during the playoffs.
Let's hope so.
And so everybody at home, be sure to check us out every week. And thanks again, everybody. And we'll be back next week with more Rules of the Game.
Thanks for watching another episode of Rider Nation Station. Help us help you by subscribing on YouTube or following us on Facebook.